Hello, Fearless Gamers, and welcome to Touching Base here on Fearless Games.
Welcome.
And welcome again, back again after quite some time.
Not too long though.
No, but first and foremost, I think I know what everyone wants us to talk about right now.
What's
that?
Who won our Dystopian Wars giveaway?
I did.
Yeah, it was definitely him. I
Definitely.
Saw.
I mean, I'm totally not a part of this.
I
when it
didn't
comes to
stuff the
getting-
ballot box or anything for him.
I'm pretty sure you can't win because you're part of the channel.
What if my alter ego of the night is one who did?
Yeah, like
it
he's got
still
another
counts
channel.
as you if you're physically you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
Sorry,
unfortunately, I was the
Tried.
one that actually drew the poll, so I'm the one who knew that
Oh,
you
then
didn't
who
win.
is it,
The one
genius?
who did
Why don't
was,
you tell us?
it was Hobby Butterfly.
Hobby Butterfly.
Happy
Yeah.
Butterfly.
Well,
Good for you.
congratulations, Hobby
Congratulations. The Dystopian War naval battle set has been mailed out to them, so
On its way.
on their way.
On the
Hopefully in another week or two. And
Hopefully not that long.
It's from U.S. mail, so U.S. mail
Still,
takes a while.
Maybe a week.
So,
You gotta row it over.
so then we're going. So thank you all who participated. And this is not the end. We will be doing another
We will be
contest
doing
fairly
other-
soon.
We'll be doing a
Plenty.
number of contests over the
Yep.
course of this channel, so keep an eye out.
And tell your friends.
Yeah, literally.
All
tell
your
your
friends.
Tell
Yep.
your friend.
Especially friends that don't like
Your
wargaming.
one friend.
Yep.
I'm
And
my only
subscribe.
friend.
Yep.
Subscribe so you guys
Yeah.
can keep attached on when we're going to be doing new videos and contests.
Ratings help.
Yes.
Only this rating, none of this rating.
All right. So now that that's out of the way, is there any new news going on in the world of hobbyists?
There was something with the MMO. The
Why, yes,
wait,
there was.
MMO.
There,
the
40K Dark Millennium?
Thank you.
Unfortunately, if you did not know, 40K The Dark Millennium was an MMO that was going to be coming out hopefully in the next couple of years for 40K. It has technically been canceled as an MMO. It will now, which is sad. We're sad, but they're not going to kill the project completely. They did a lot of work on it, so they're planning to make it into a single-player MMO with a possible
Single-player
co-op
RPG?
Sorry, single-player RPG. Single-player MMO doesn't make any sense. It's
Nope.
like Final Fantasy 13.
Yes.
Sorry.
Nicely done. I like that.
I lost my track.
Single player RPG with potential co-op elements, which awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, that
It's a shame
sounds
we
really
won't be getting the
cool.
MMO, but the fact that we're getting a product out of the deal, still very exciting.
Yeah.
I like
So,
products.
Keep an eye out. Yes.
More,
That's why we're here.
more video games made for more games is a good thing in my opinion.
Take my money.
Yeah. So,
hand it over.
any other new news topics?
Anything from you
You got
over there?
anything?
I lost it.
Well, I got something.
Okay.
The new Citadel paint line is out.
Yes, that was it.
Games Workshop has released now.
Oh look, they're right there.
Yep, there's a couple of
Hello.
jars right there. Games Workshop has released now 145 different paints.
Explosion!
So we went from 5 shades of black, gray, and brown to the colors of the rainbow. And I, for one, am very happy about that.
Taste
And it's a double rainbow.
Yep.
There's
whole
also
double
a
rainbow.
number of different types of paint, layer, base,
Shades,
Shade,
glaze,
texture.
textures.
To get more details on that,
Check out the Games Workshop
hit up
website.
the internet. Exactly.
Yeah,
They-
they make it. They would have tons of it.
Or you can read this month's issue of White Dwarf, get the next picture to
course.
see that combi plasma that the Space Marine's holding, and learn all about the new paint line.
Yep.
And is there any other news feed going on?
One other thing, I have all the sad news. I'm sorry.
Because you're a sad person.
I am. The Ard Boys competition tournament run by James Workshop has been officially canceled, as well as I do believe their was it the Throne of Skulls. Their two big tournaments are pretty much done for. It's kind of sad. Honestly, I don't care too much because I don't really like Ard Boys anyways.
Well,
Because
I mean-
2,500 points was a lot for me.
Yeah.
I do think that's not the end though. I'm sure maybe in a couple
Absolutely
of
not.
years
Yeah.
GW will do something again.
Let's
Big
pump
events
the
are a
brakes.
thing.
Yeah.
Let's
Up in the
pump
brakes.
the brakes because we all know that 6th edition is on the rise soon.
It's on the horizon.
This could be part of the whole
Fair.
list. Is stop supporting tournaments right now. We have plenty of local support from local game stores to run their own tournaments. They do a fantastic job. Let's just pump the brakes a bit, step back, and make sure we can get 6th edition up and running to have more tournaments again once it comes out.
I wouldn't be surprised if, with the release of 6th edition, they simultaneously released like a new tournament format. Like, you know, here's the new rule set and something cool for you to do. Marketing.
Yeah.
And with that involved, let's go into our very first topic of the episode.
day? Well,
Yep.
it does have something to do with the new paints that came out, or at least as far as
It's actually
in general.
It's actually a piggyback off our last one, which is getting into the hobby, is now prepping and painting and building and doing all that crazy stuff you do with hobbying.
On a budget.
Yes.
I make $7.50 an hour making coffee, so this is an important topic to me.
Yes, and so who wants to go first with their ideas?
Can I start? Because I actually
Sure.
had a good idea you pointed out.
Do it.
One of the most important things with keeping a budget is actually keeping a budget. So write it down. I actually keep an Excel sheet where I just put down what I spend for the month on hobbies.
We were literally discussing that before we started.
Yeah, and I'm like,
filming.
oh yeah, that's really important. I do that because I don't
do that.
I don't have a lot of money to spend on everything because I have a lot of other expenses. So just figure out what you want to spend for the month and try to stay under that. And that's a good way to start keeping a budget.
As a converse sort of scenario, I don't do that, and I'm in debt right now. so
Do that.
yeah, do that stuff. Building off of that, though, breaking down your budget, I think one thing that you can save a lot on, the thing that you really need to spend the least on, would be brushes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can go for the official, hobby company brushes, brush sets, and spend
A decent
$8
amount of money.
on like 4 brushes.
And they're good
Which-
brushes.
They're decent brushes.
Yeah.
They're not bad brushes. But if you're just getting into the hobby and you're strapped for cash, you can save a lot of money on brushes by just going to like a Michaels or a Pearl Paint. Do they even still exist?
I think
They
there's
do in
some,
the city.
just not,
Yeah.
not here
Yeah,
anymore.
so whatever nearby craft store you've got, and go into their paintbrush section and looking for basically the equivalent. Get 3 or 4 brushes. Each one will be like $1 to $1.50. You'll save a little bit of money. Note on brushes though, do not by any means get a nylon bristle brush.
Nope.
They're cheap. They're tempting. They're garbage.
Yep.
They're gonna fall apart on you. They're not gonna hold the paint very well at all. And they're just gonna be a crap investment. Always go with a natural hairbrush. This is something I picked up. I was an art major for 3 years. I tried a nylon brush in a class once, and the professor just looked at me like that. They're gonna be a little more expensive than hairbrushes, but they're worth it. They'll last you longer, and even after you beat them up, you can use them for something like for dry brushing, or just for crap models. You have something you want to say.
And they're natural, so they're good for the environment.
They are.
Yeah.
Actually, that is.
It's not
they're
serious.
going
They're
to
good for the
biodegrade better
Yeah.
in like 10 years. Because I don't think I spend more than, when I go to get new brushes, I don't spend more than $6. I don't need to. I use 3 brushes. I use a big basing brush, a standard sort of normal tasks brush, and a fine detail
Yeah,
brush.
that's all I
That's all you
personally use,
really,
too.
really need.
Yeah.
If you're doing a weird task, go out, get a new brush, a couple of bucks. But that's a place where you can save a lot of money. And so you can save up for, slightly more expensive paints, for example.
Yeah.
Who wants to...
Well, I'll jump in
moving
on
on
that
about
one.
paints. That was
One
my
thing,
segue.
one thing before I going off the whole budget thing is one thing that's also a good thing is holiday stuff. Honest and for truly, whenever, when a holiday comes up or a birthday comes up and my parents say, what do you want? I was like, here's a list of paints, here's a list of brushes and stuff. Get me that.
You end up with cash, don't you?
Huh?
You end up with cash.
No, they usually actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I
no.
always end up with cash when I ask for specific
No,
things like
they
that.
usually do that, and just give me a couple of these brushes here. Like that's usually what my stocking stuffer is a bunch of hobby paints
That's
and
pretty
brushes.
cool, actually.
Yeah.
So it's like a kind of way of finding resources that you wouldn't normally
Yeah.
think about using. Because usually, like I want the latest video game, you just get a bunch of brushes and stuff.
So bug your friends and family for cheaper hobby equipment.
Yeah.
I like
Or make them pay for the more expensive stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of my models have come from you guys.
That's true.
So going off of paints, now a lot of people that I hear, complaining like one thing is I'm a very big, I buy from the source. I play Warhammer 40,000. I usually buy stuff made by James Workshop.
Game.
But on the plus note there there are other options out there. There's Valet or whatever.
Vallejo.
Vallejo. They're a very popular paint range.
Can't say that.
Another interesting thing is Black Hat Miniatures.
Yes, we were talking about
They
that.
are a source of what's called Cote d'Arms paint. Cote d'Arms used to be Citadel's paint company. They were actually around when the inks were still around.
Yeah, they used to do the Citadel paints.
So what's interesting is it's like about $11.90 here for 3 jars of paint
Something
from
like
Citadel,
that.
roughly.
Something like that.
At least that's how what I usually spend.
Yeah.
Overseas
They're just under
for Cote d'Arms paint, it's $15 and change for shipping. You get 3 jars that are this big
Yeah, you get-
and about this wide.
You get 2.5
and
times as much, really.
yes, and they last longer. Like
Yeah.
I'll go and I'll pick up a bunch of paint, pop open, and it's dried up.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
stuff I have yet to see it
They don't
liquefy
dry
on
up.
me.
It doesn't solidify.
One other thing I can also going off of painting is for those who who have a little bit extra cash in their budget and they want to go with like airbrushing for base painting if they don't want to go with cheap spray paint, because again, 97-cent spray paint will do the job for basing models.
Yeah.
You're going to be painting over it anyway. It doesn't care that it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're going to go the airbrush way, don't go with an aerosol-based airbrush because by the time you're up to your 3rd or 4th
Yeah.
can, you might as well have just bought the air
Yeah,
compressor.
just save up for a compressor.
In all honesty, if you're thinking of doing an airbrush, you really have to spend the money on it. You just have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the most budget-oriented
Yeah.
thing, but if you save up over time, it's just overall the better
I mean, you
option,
don't have to
like
get the
you
most expensive one out there. Certainly
Yeah,
not.
No,
It's
not for
not
something
going to be
like
cheap.
this. Yeah.
The biggest advantages over an airbrush with an air compressor over an aerosol can is aerosol cans are expensive. Airbrushing, since it's just plain air, it's a little bit safer. Open up the window in your room, spray in a box. You don't have to worry about ventilation as
Yeah.
much.
Less fumes.
And also consistent power. Problem with aerosol is you spray for too long, the
Yeah.
can gets really cold, and your
gotta-
pressure degrades, and you have to stop.
You gotta cool it for a little while.
Whereas an air compressor, you could just go up, flip, and for as long as you want.
Real quick primer on paints, however, start to step on. If you can't get Citadel paints, if you can't get the Cote d'Arms paints we were talking about before, if you just have a bare bones craft store, all you can get are like those giant tubes of acrylic paint, or like other hobby paints like model car paint. Go for it.
Yeah.
If you get the big acrylic paints, just make sure that you do 2 things. 1, thin those paints like crazy, because they come out super thick. And 2, study the color wheel. Just get a basic student's color wheel. It costs you like $2, because then you'll be able to figure out, oh well, if I mix this yellow with this red and this ratio, I'll be able to get the equivalent of this red that Citadel makes, and that I can't get. It might not get the exact same thing, but you'll be able to get close enough approximations to the actual official paints by just putting in a little bit of extra elbow grease.
And also, don't you get more paint with the acrylic?
Yes,
you
you
get
do.
a lot.
It's like
you
the
can get
tubes
like a
are
tube
huge.
like that big for like $5.
Forever.
And
Yeah, exactly.
do you have
I
anything?
still have paints from like 10 years ago.
Oh, I did too.
Budgeting. If you don't want to go crazy, Excel because who wants to do that. And if you don't want to go in debt because who wants to do that, all you gotta do is paycheck, whatever you're getting, if you're getting an allowance, birthday money, do the math a little bit. Go, okay, I'm gonna take every paycheck, if you get paid every week, every bi-weekly, $10-20 out of the paycheck, put it aside, don't even have it. Now you're living off or doing stuff off of a little bit less money. All that money you're putting away for the hobby, give it like a month, all saying like, wow, I got some money I can spend on this hobby.
Let me put it in there.
And the best is not go overboard. Another thing, it doesn't have to do anything, buying anything. Whatever paints you get used to less is more. Especially with the acrylic paint. When you thin them down,
Absolutely.
when you thin down some acrylic paint, you can get a lot of paint out of a couple of drops. You don't have to go,
Yeah, you
because then
really.
you waste a lot of paint. You can make the paint last 5 times as long even if you just take, a little dab will do you.
It's the same with Citadel paints too. You
Yep.
thin that out a
Any
bit.
paint.
You'll use like I literally have a big tube of paint, a big tube of black paint that I was using 10 years ago, that I'm not even halfway through.
Now, when it comes down to getting hobby tools, because you're gonna need tools to build. It's not just paintbrushes, not just paints.
Clippers.
It's clippers,
files,
glue, files,
glue.
Sculpting
knives.
tools.
All that stuff is produced by the big companies of wargaming. You can get it outside of that. You can probably find some thrift stores even have an old dental set. For look, I have this. You can also get.
Surgical sets.
Instead of getting a hobby
no,
knife, a hobby knife is X-Acto
X-Acto blade,
yeah.
You can get a whole X-Acto kit. If you used to take science, you get a dissection kit. Keep that.
I've used all my dissection kits for hobbies at this point.
And really, you don't.
Go to Michael's, get the basic X-Acto. Go to
The basic
Home Depot,
X-Acto
get
kit is cheap.
I've seen people get away with using box cutters.
Yeah, a standard utility knife can do a lot of stuff.
And instead of having to
Be
get
careful. For the love of God, be
they're
careful.
sharp.
Keep
Modeling
the super
sand,
glue on hand.
not necessary. Modeling flock, even not necessary. You can go to a train hobby place is the place to go to get bulk stuff cheap.
Yeah.
Because train
Real
hobbyists
cheap.
are insane.
Out of their minds. Don't hang out with them.
Ridiculous.
Do not go in their basements.
No, hang out and go in their basements. Just don't stay with
For
them.
those that
Don't
for
go in their
those
basements
who
alone.
don't know the craziness, train hobbyist people have built trains this big that can pull a cart carrying 12 full-grown dope males.
Yeah.
Don't go in their basement alone.
And they're
Bring
scratch
a
built.
friend.
Why would
They're
you need to
scratch
do
built,
that?
and as a quick side note,
Get the flock.
their scratch built terrain is so lifelike,
Yeah.
which is
It's
why you
crazy.
want to go to where they get their supplies.
Yeah.
They get great stuff pretty cheap. If you don't have one near you, or you're too afraid because we just made you afraid, you can go to a Home Depot, get some sand, get some modeling sand out of like Michael's or craft store, and some kitty litter. I know it sounds weird, but if you have a cat, you already have that stuff. It's basically free at that
It's
point.
just free grit.
Yes.
That'll help you for
Used.
basing and even making terrain if you're going to get involved in terrain making.
This one thing going off of the sand thing.
I knew you were going to go to this one.
It sounds cheap, it sounds easy. Don't go outside and get sand from like the beach or something, because I did that once. I had a whole hobby thing. I was like, I got sand. I went out, I threw some soap in there, I swooshed it around, I let it dry.
I love this story.
3 days later, my entire board was covered in spider webs and there was ants everywhere. I don't know what it is, but
They love stuff from outside.
you take anything outside, no matter how clean you make it, except for rocks. Rocks
Rocks
for
you can get
some way.
clean.
Yeah, rocks are
But no
real.
matter how well you clean dirt, it will attract animals no matter what.
Yeah.
Dirt is full of animal poop. That will attract.
Remember, no matter how much you clean dirt, it's still
Still dirt.
dirt.
Exactly.
Another thing is on the literature front, surprisingly, this book right here, phenomenal
Very good
resource.
I can tell you for a fact it is without even owning this one because I owned the two prior, and I know this is just an improvement on that. Games Workshop has put out good quality how-to books. This is pretty much all they have out right now. I don't know what they're doing with the other stuff. But as a side note, they've been making books for the hobby for decades. It stands up. Why did it take so long? Why so long for do this?
Whoever did
So
that
simple,
deserves
so
a
cheap.
promotion.
Now,
Games Workshop, promote the man who came up with that.
The guy that came up with that was obviously the guy who had that happy little kitty
He will-
calendar on his desk for years.
Yes.
He will revolutionize the company.
yes, and what's also great with this is it comes with a DVD so you can physically watch them. For especially those who like read the book and I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, I don't see the difference between these two pictures. What did he do that's different?
Yeah. You can load up the DVD and go, oh, those are the 7 steps he didn't talk about.
Speaking of that, there's a wealth of how-to books and DVDs out there, and it's usually just that, books or DVD. DVD can be great, you can get ripped off, do your research, because you might just find somebody
Always
paying.
research what you're buying.
The books are usually
Yeah.
pretty good, maybe a bit technical, maybe not the greatest quality, but it's a little bit rare to find a marriage of DVD and book together, because that's really helpful. That gives you the full spectrum.
And also, just one last thing, going off of how-to stuff, the internet is a free place for that stuff.
You're already
Blogs,
using it.
YouTube, you have an internet connection if you're looking at us. If you're looking at My Beautiful Face and these, the stupid mask and these two ugly ones, you have internet access. You can go to youtube.com. You're already on youtube.com or miniwargaming.com.
Even if you don't, because for some reason it got cut in a weird operation by the police. You got the public library. If you're at school, school has it. You know, if you got a little downtime, hang out a little bit after school, whatever, just do a quick search.
Mooch off
You'll
your
find
friends.
everything. Yes.
Mooch off your friends.
He's been doing it for years.
He has.
That's how I get through life.
Okay. And so I think that's really
Yeah, that's everything we need to talk about today.
If anyone has any questions in this, post a comment.
Absolutely. Any further advice that we didn't get to for other viewers, feel free.
Oh yeah.
And if you want to hear about any topics, please let us know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Post a comment.
We don't have a show without you. So hit that button.
And then type some stuff
hit
down
this
there.
button, not this button. This button.
Okay.
And
Plus,
keep in touch.
you know, we won't wait for the next touching base unless it's a huge, big, groundbreaking, earth-shattering topic. You know, we can just pop out a video if you got a real big question, like, hey, what about this? We're like, well, I happen to have this, and here, this is what.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, Cypress Drucker, what makes you so cool? I'll make the video. I won't upload it.
Nothing.
But I'll make the video.
So Yep. So
There's nothing that
thanks-
makes him cool.
Thank you everybody for watching. Again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for
Thanks
subscribing.
so much, guys.
Thank you.
I
All
also
your
just
support
want to,
helps.
one last thing, thank you to Grasshopper Comics over in Williston Park on Long Island for getting us
Yeah,
the
helping us out with the, the giveaway before.
giveaway.
Speaking of that, on my personal channel, I actually got a message from somebody saying, you know, I actually checked it out after you guys did the video about it. So thanks for actually, if you're around, checking things
if you're
out.
around,
doing
check
that.
them out. They're absolutely worth going to. They're a very good store.
Yep. And actually, for those on Long Island right now, they're the only gaming store I've been to that has the full Citadel paint line.
Huh,
Really?
There we go.
Yep.
They don't mess
Good
up.
to know.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching. Until next time, Fearless Gamers, take care.
Peace.
Bye.
I'm kind of interested